Hello, welcome back to Theology Thursdays. This time Theology Thursdays on a Friday, but that's okay. We are continuing our study on the things to come right ahead, and this is going to be the Man of Sin Part 2. And in this video, we are just going to deal with the two topics related to that. One is the false Trinity, very briefly, and then the number of the beast. So the false Trinity and the number of the beast. In the next video, we're going to cover the abomination of desolation, and then probably another video on the restrainer and the binding of Satan before we move on to the second coming. So in the book of Revelation, there is presented to us a false Trinity. A false Trinity that is consisting of Satan, the beast, and the false prophet. Kim Ritterberger describes it this way. The Antichrist will be the supreme persecutor of Christ's church and will exercise his reign of terror through state-sponsored heresy, taking a form similar to the emperor worship John described in Revelation. John describes this as a counterfeit trinity of sorts, an unholy collaboration between the dragon, Satan, the beast, the state, and the false prophet, the state's leader. Since this figure is a false Christ who mimics our Lord's redemptive work, he will manifest his own death, resurrection, and second advent. The point here that we need to understand is that everything about this man of sin, everything about this apostasy of the end times is meant to mimic God, is meant to mimic Christ. And so it only makes sense that there would be a false trinity of sorts. The dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. And of course, with a false death, resurrection, and second advent, which would be very interesting to see. But the thing is, what we need to notice is that this is that final attempt to mock God, to take the place of God, to impersonate God, that will take place before the second coming of Christ. So we need to make sure we understand that. Now, this other topic that we have is the number of the beast. The number of the beast. This is a topic that is very speculative. A lot of speculation about it. When we get this, there's only one place, and it's Revelation 13. Revelation 13, 16 through 18. It says there, he causes all, both great and small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. Now, there have been many attempts over the centuries to use this number to identify the Antichrist. We talked a little bit about Nero. When we talked about this, we talked about the fact that they used the 3 6s to speculate that it was Ronald Reagan. But are we really supposed to look at this in any sort of numerological way? We hear today that 666 has been associated with Nero. But Kim Ritterberger says that none of the church fathers apparently were aware of any connection between 666 and Nero. In fact, it was not until 1831 that the specific identification of those numbers with Nero using Germatria was first suggested by 4 German scholars. Germatria is kind of the making letters into numbers kind of thing. So, we get people looking for the beast. We get people looking for these numbers now in very high-tech ways, looking for the Social Security numbers in the United States, numbers of driver's license, any kind of identification number. But to do that is really to miss the point. 7 is the number of perfection. 6 comes close, but doesn't really reach it. Again, Ritterberger says the meaning of the number is at least significant as identifying to whom it applies. The number 66, the number of man is 666, is perfectly imperfect, in contrast to the number perfection 7. The thrice repeated number 6 implies endless work without rest. Endless work without rest. That's the idea here. That with everything that the Antichrist does, with everything that the devil does, they never reach the rest of heaven. I mean, if we think about it, we should think back to the days of creation. On 6 days, God created the heavens and the earth, and on the 7th day, he rested. Here, endless work, no rest, no reaching the Sabbath, the almost getting there, but never quite. And if you almost get there, but never quite, you never get there. Endless work with no rest. So before we spend a lot of time trying to calculate numbers here and trying to look at names and calculate things, we're best to understand that this number points us to the imperfection of the way of the Antichrist, the imperfection of the way of Satan, never fully reaching the status of God, never fully delivering on rest, never reaching his goal. And as for the mark, we ought not to look for 666 tattoos on people's hands or foreheads. This mark, as we've discussed before, is a mark that is used, is probably going to be more symbolic than anything, to indicate that the head, the mind, and the hands, the work, are given over to service, not of God, not of Christ, but of Satan and the Antichrist. Next time we will cover the topic of the abomination of desolation. Until then, Pastor Howard Sloan, Missionary at Large, Westminster Biblical Missions. Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this broadcast, please like, share, and subscribe. If you're interested in following what I'm doing, you can go to missionaryatlarge.webs.com. You can also find me on Facebook or YouTube, Howard Sloan, Missionary at Large, if you haven't found me there already. If you're interested in supporting the ministry, please go to wbminc.org/donate. You can also find out more about Westminster Biblical Missions there. While you're there, you can go to that donate page and go to the Missionary at Large Fund. Thank you again. We'll see you next time.